Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Nate, we are coming fresh off of a New York Knicks playoff win. I am feeling very good. We're actually going to jump into the slate for Thursday night as we continue this first round of the playoffs. Quick reminder, if you do need a DraftKings or FanDuel account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. Our gift card challenge is in progress right now as we wait to see the results of what Donovan Mitchell does. Please do remember to like and subscribe to the video. Jump in those comments. We'll continue to offer some gift card opportunities for you guys. But let's jump into that 3-game slate for Thursday night. Nate.
Yeah, pretty intriguing games. We have game 3 of the Bucks going to Miami now, and there are only -2 at that spot after a huge blowout win. The total is 226 for that game. Then we have the Suns down to +7 at Lakers after dropping game 2 to even the series there. Total is at 210. They actually hit exactly the total to push in their last game. And then the Nuggets +3.5 at Blazers after Denver evened that series. Total pretty consistent for that one. It is at 227.5. And the first 2 games have gone over, but it's not budging. So when I see these lines open, Josh, the first thing that just surprised me is Milwaukee only -2. I thought it would be more like 6.5 after the way they just handled Miami. You could see the defeat in their eyes. Miami, they're very much a team that went into this series with that mental edge, right? That we have your number. We got you last year. And things have really flipped on their head here. And mainly because of the new guys Milwaukee brought on board. Credit to their GM. PJ Tucker trading off with Giannis, who you pointed out has done a much better job containing Jimmy Butler. Bryn Forbes taking advantage of Miami's shoddy 3-point defense, really. And then, of course, Drew Holiday, whose greatest attribute, as you point out, is that he's not Eric Bledsoe. Just looking at the offensive firepower that Milwaukee can provide, and really more just the attitude that they're going to bring to this game, you could see teams lighten up in Game 3 after winning the first 2 at home. I don't think Milwaukee has any light up in terms of how they're approaching this series. They are going to be going hard. The one reference we have here is they hit an NBA record 29 threes in Miami at the very start of the season, scored 144 points, kind of a similar situation here. Yeah, they dropped the next game, 118-109. Giannis had a cool 26-point triple-double, though. And again, I don't think that Milwaukee's going to take their foot off the gas the way they did in that early matchup. For Miami, it's just the bubble magic has not been there this year. They're still just 14-22 against winning teams, 7-18 straight up when underdogs. The thing is, I'm not expecting them to go down easy as much as the Bucks will come out swinging. So I'm actually not really looking at the spread if I'm looking at betting angle. What I'm looking at is Bam and Jimmy to respond with the heart of the champion that they have. Just some really good props to look at there. They have some notable home road splits. Jimmy in particular getting more points, more rebounds, higher usage. So I like him to get over 39.5 points, rebounds, assists. I like Bam to really board up, which he did in Game 1. He had 12. He had 16 and 12 in the playoff meetings with Milwaukee last year. So I'm actually going alternate rebounds all the way up to 10.5 or 11.5, and you can get over +200 on FanDuel there, assuming that Milwaukee does not shoot such a torrid pace from 3, that Bam actually gets the opportunity to get some rebounds. And then if you do want to go the angle of Milwaukee winning, Drew Holiday to get 7+ assists in a win is +215 at FanDuel, and he had 15 in his last game. He is the maestro out there, and both of these teams are just horrible at guarding the 3-point line in terms of they're going to live with the results. So when you have a point guard spraying it out there to good shooters, the assists are going to be pretty easy to come by.
And what you said is what I hone in on as the difference in this series from last series mostly is the 3-point shooting that both teams are letting happen for the other side. The difference is last year they had both Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson on the floor at the same time, did the Heat. And that led to, Brooke Lopez actually being played off the floor and not being able to, keep pace with both of those guys. At this point, there was only one on the floor at the same time because of how bad they both are on defense. That allows Brooke Lopez to stay on the floor. That keeps a shot blocker in the paint for guys like Jimmy Butler, Kendrick Nunn, and the other guys who can't shoot outside basically of those two. And obviously Bam gets things clogged up in the middle for him. So I do like, the idea of players like Jimmy being able and Bam being able to at least bring the hustle. 39.5 points over points, rebounds, and assists for Jimmy. I second that, as well as Bam's hustle points or hustle stat in terms of 10.5 boards. Really like that as well. A game that I feel really, really comfortable about is the Lakers and Suns in this Thursday night slate, Nate, and that's mostly just because of the fact that CP3 is so clearly injured, and he is the difference maker for them this year in terms of what they're able to pulling a 2 seed out this year as opposed to missing the playoffs last year. What you saw from him down the stretch. He had played 23 minutes in the game. He had only 5 shot attempts, and he didn't even play in the fourth quarter. They were only down 7 going into that fourth quarter. Quickly actually within 4. And so really the other thing from CP, I think, Devin Booker showed he's going to score no matter what, especially against the Lakers, who don't have the wings right now, the wing defenders, to really be able to do anything with him. But I do think that the player that's going to really be hurt from a lack of CP3 is DeAndre Ayton, who scores most of his points from obviously standing in that dunker spot. He has actually 81% of his points in this series come from unassisted field goals in the paint. So that's incredible. He's shooting about 90% in the series, not missing very many shots because they're also close to the basket. But, I don't know if Cameron Payne's going to be able to do that as well on the road. You usually see role players play a lot better at home, which actually brings me to why I do think the Lakers will be able to score some points finally. You've seen no points from Kuz. You've seen a lack of help from guys. Dennis Schroeder in the second game came to play, but at home, not so much. So you look actually at guys like Kuz who score a bunch more points at home. I do think that the Lakers, this spread started at -2. It's already up to 7. I think people see how impactful the lack of Chris Paul on the floor. We'll see what he's able to do, but only 1 day's rest. Actually the Phoenix Suns were 3rd best in the league against the spread on 1 day's rest. That's actually going to hurt them a lot in this game without, Chris Paul not having the time to really, get better. So I am going to take that line at -7. I'm not really feeling too great about the total, but I also do like AD straight up 25.5 points. I think you saw Montrezl Harrell get the DMP, a lovely Frank Vogel, mid series sort of switch up there and pivot. Not playing Montrezl Harrell at all incredibly helped AD get 34 points in that game. I think you'll be able to see him do plenty against the second unit when he plays in that second quarter again in that Thursday night matchup.
Yeah, because Marc Gasol as that other center option is a floor spreader around AD. AD can still play the 4, doesn't have to guard Ayton, but the middle is now open with Marc Gasol out there, and he's obviously a championship caliber player who will really help the Lakers close out down the stretch. If this was still at -2, yeah, I'd be all over it. I think the Suns, just with the spirit of Chris Paul, can still be good against the spread. All their great numbers against the spread, yeah, it's really just about how Chris Paul closes games. And if he's not healthy, that's a big question mark. Although we don't know what kind of things they can inject his shoulder with, and maybe he can gut one out. I don't think we should just act as if he's not going to play at all. But I agree that this is about the Lakers knocking off the rust, particularly Anthony Davis, who just looks so disjointed in the final few games of the season in the play-in game. And finally, in that fourth quarter, got back to thumping his chest a little bit, feeling good about his outside shot and just taking over that game on both ends. I think you'll see a good carryover there. His points, rebounds, assists is ridiculously low at 37.5. Yeah. And then the other guy who's not really getting credit or as much attention for knocking off the rust is Schroeder, who had COVID. Yeah. And yes, finally found his offense, 24 points on 8 for 16 field goal shooting. It's not about what he can do. It's what he has to do. With LeBron playing on one ankle, it's time for Schroeder to step up, especially if Paul's not out there to guard him most of the time. His points prop at just 14.5. That's very exploitable. And the 21.5 points, rebound, assist as well. I'm eyeing those two guys for their props.
Love it.
And then the last game, which is a bit of a wild card in our opinion because of Nikola Jokic and how bizarre he makes things turn out. But really, the consistency with Denver is going over, and especially in playoff games. We're now looking at 5 straight playoff games that have gone over for them, and it's because Jokic dominates the game, but he does not do anything on defense, does he? He just kind of gets out of the way, hope the other team misses, and that's why 6 of the last 7 playoff meetings with Portland have gone over as well. Denver's been awful guarding the 3-point line. Portland obviously can light it up from there. Both these teams filling it up in the first half, getting 63 points per game their last 3 games in the first half. So I'm looking at it over in the first half as even more exploitable at 116.5. That before Denver tends to slow it down the stretch, play through Jokic more deliberately. Portland does tend to play faster at home. They have the 6th fastest pace in home games and they just really had an uncharacteristically bad game in the margins in game 2. Getting outscored 21-4 on fast break points by committing 21 turnovers. This is the team that turns it over the fewest times per game in the NBA all year. Dame Lillard, a little off kilter when they switched Aaron Gordon onto him in the second half.
Yeah.
He said he will figure that out. I think we all have faith in Damian Lillard figuring out how to exploit a bigger guard. And I think really the key for Portland is just having Dame get other guys involved. When he has 8+ assists, they're 22-10 this season. And he has 10+ assists in 3 straight games against Denver. I think he'll do a better job of breaking down the defense for his teammates, getting Portland going, and really helping this game get over, because when Portland wins, it tends to be high scoring. I like the over, and I would consider parlaying it with Portland, considering Denver just this weird trend. They've lost 9 straight game 3s when it's a 1-1 series. So we'll see if that continues.
That's interesting. Yeah, and really, I think once again the idea of role players, especially in the playoffs, coming a little bit more with it at home, where you have the crowd and they might feel a bit more comfortable, as opposed to those superstars who it doesn't matter where they play. They're going to, because Dame really seemed like the only person who showed up in game 2 for the Blazers. And I think you'll see a lot more help coming his way at home, as they've been scoring a ton more points at home, as you said. And Nikola Jokic is the only factor that does startle me and keep me a little bit more hesitant from just going in on a 3.5 point spread even. But if you do think the over is going to hit, which I know we both like the most of anything in this game, and either way, if you do think Portland's going to pull this out, you might just get the money line and tease that or parlay that right with the over there.
And keep in mind, Nurkic fouled out with 10 minutes left in game 2. So if you're worried about how Jokic closed that game, if Nurkic is out there, it might be a different story down the stretch.
100%. Either way, it's going to be a good time. That series is the only one that continues to go over consistently. I think we can see that again. But it's going to be a good night in the NBA on Thursday night, Nate. We'll hopefully be back with another gift card opportunity for you guys, assuming that somebody is able to get that Donovan Mitchell prop right during that Utah-Memphis game. But we make sure you are liked and subscribed to the page either way. Jump in the comments. Let us know who you guys are betting on. These playoffs have been not a disappointment so far. We're hoping to continue to see that prosperity continue. And as for tonight, y'all, happy betting.